Good morning, YouTubers. I'd like today to try to explain a problem that I've just experienced with trying to use my Wi-Fi adapter in my netbook. This happened around about a week ago, and it's taken me quite a while to sort out what the problem was. However, I've now resolved it, and I'd like to share my resolution with you. This is the adapter that I was talking about. You probably can't see it very well because it's black. But it's actually a Netgear WNDA3200. It's actually badged up. You probably can't see it very well, but it says Virgin here at the top. And as you can see, it's just a fairly standard USB connected Wi-Fi adapter. So if I just plug this in, let me just show you what happens. Actually, nothing happens, which is the problem. If I can actually find the USB slot. There we go. So I've actually plugged that into the netbook. Now down here in the right hand corner, of course, these the bars that we normally see for a Wi-Fi connection. Let me just move the camera around slightly so you can see perhaps a little bit better. So you can see here it says internal wireless adapter, which is the built-in wireless adapter on my netbook, but there's actually nothing showing up for the Virgin Media USB stick that I've just inserted. And this was the problem that I had. Nothing was happening with this USB stick. So I went into the device manager, and to do that you right click onto computer, or you can actually do it from the start panel. You can see the computer is listed here as well. If you right click on it and go into properties, you can see here on this screen there's an option for device manager. If I hit that, you can see here is the virtual CD-ROM for this USB device. So let me explain what this actually means. What you have on this Wi-Fi adapter is it has a virtual CD-ROM. So that's where it loads the installation software and the drivers for this USB adapter. So rather than having a USB adapter and a DVD or a CD with the software on, this actually comes bundled together on the USB stick. Okay, so what it tries to do is it tries to install a virtual CD-ROM, and you can see here, probably not very well, let me just zoom in. Just let me get this up slightly. Yes, you can probably just about see here it has a yellow exclamation mark. Now for anybody familiar with PCs, that usually says there's a problem with it, and this is no exception. What threw me was this error code, what looks like an error code here, 0CF320FF. Normally that, when you see something like that, it's an error code. In this case it's actually not. If I now remove the USB adapter, you'll see that this actually disappears. So this adapter's now out, refreshes the device manager. You can see it's now actually, there is no longer an entry in here for the DVD CD-ROM drives. So what I did then was I inserted the Wi-Fi adapter into one of my other PCs. Let me just show you what happened when I did that. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the device manager for my other PC, again running Windows 7. You can actually see in DVD and CD-ROM drives this time it's actually there already. The reason it's there already is because I have two DVD drives internally mounted on this particular PC. So what I'm going to do now off camera is I'm going to actually insert the Wi-Fi adapter into this PC. So it's going in now. What you should see is very quickly you'll see virtual CD-ROM and that what looks like an error code displayed again. It now comes up with the Virgin Media Wireless USB Adapter Setup Utility, which I'll just dismiss. So you see it's actually disappeared again. So what happens is it mounts that virtual CD-ROM, it pulls presumably off that software, or run some software, and then it disappears again. But the important thing to note is when I inserted it, let me just do it again. I'm just going to insert it again now. You can actually see that it still has this thing that looks like an error code here, and that's the thing I was trying to show you. So that confused me somewhat. I was looking around the internet trying to find that error code. There were some entries, unfortunately didn't solve the problem. It actually made matters worse, because people were saying you need to uninstall drivers, uninstall the software, reinstall the software. In fact, that is actually not the problem, and I'll demonstrate why it's not the problem shortly. So having established that it was perhaps something to do with the CD drive rather than anything else, what I thought I'd do is try to connect an external DVD or CD drive into this particular netbook. So the way I did that was I took a box standard CD drive, and I used one of these things called an IDE to USB connection cable. These are very useful pieces of kit. If you don't have one, I suggest you perhaps get one. It's really useful for connecting external hard drives or optical drives into a PC. On one side it has a full-size IDE adapter, and then on the other side it has a smaller one which is used for the standard 2.5-inch drives that you get for laptops, etc. On the other hand, it has a USB cable. This can come, or should come, with a power supply, which is one of these. On the end of there is a Molex plug, the same sort of plug that you'd see inside any PC to connect your power to your drives. This is an IDE setup. You can actually get the same thing for SATA drives. They of course will have a different connector. The one that I have has a connection on here, and you put the SATA cable from there into the drive. So I'll just connect this up and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so we have the IDE connector cable connected to the back of the drive. So here you can see it here at the back of the drive. Here is the USB end. The Molex plug is connected to the back to supply the power from the power adapter. I'm now just going to plug that into a power supply. And you can see on here the light has now come on the CD drive. What I'm now going to do is plug this into the netbook. So here we are back with Device Manager on the netbook. So I'm just about to plug in the USB connector for the drive that we've just attached via the IDE cable. And you should be able to see, hopefully, in a moment when it just gets itself together, it refreshes Device Manager. And here we go. Interestingly, we have a Sony CD rewrite drive, and we have here, I hope you can see it on the screen, but we have the dreaded exclamation mark. This was what really confirmed that it was a problem with the CD-ROM. It was nothing to do with that thing that looked like an error code. So after a bit of investigation on the internet, this is when I found the solution to this particular problem. So after some searching around the internet, I came across an article on the Microsoft Support Knowledgebase website. So this is at support.microsoft.com/KB, which stands for Knowledgebase, /314060. I'll put that again in the description underneath this video. So I just scroll this down, you can see the title of this is "Your CD drive or DVD drive is missing or is not recognised by Windows or other programs." So if I scroll a little bit further down this article, there are two ways to fix this problem apparently. One is using Fixit from Microsoft. This is an automated program that fixes problems on PCs. Myself, I actually wanted to find out whether this really was the problem rather than just run the Fixit program. So if we scroll a little bit further down, there's a section under Windows Vista which actually describes editing the registry, and this here is the entry for this particular problem. So what I did, I went in and found this entry in the registry and went in and deleted a an entry called lower filters. Now, editing the registry is can be fraught with potential problems. If you're going to do this, you need to be extremely careful. I suggest you back up the registry beforehand. But because I've done this quite a few times, I'm fairly relaxed about doing it. But what I'll do is I'll go into it now and I'll show you what I actually changed. Okay, so this is how you edit the registry. First of all, you click on the start. In this field here, you key in regedit. Hit enter. It will then ask you if you want to make changes to this computer, because this is normally run by an administrator. So click yes. So this is the first screen that comes up. So we're looking for something that's H local machine. So we expand that by clicking the arrow to the left of it. We're then looking for system, which is here. Again, we expand it. Then looking for current control set. Again, we expand that. We're then looking for control. We're then looking for class, expanding that. This is where it starts to get interesting, because we have lots and lots and lots of entries under class. So here we are, this is 4D36E965, E325, 11CE, BFC1, 08002BE, 10318. If we expand that, you'll see that these things, we don't want to do that, we want to click onto it. And these are, I'll just move this over slightly. And what we can see here is we have this entry called lower filters. You may also see one that says higher filters. What it says in the Knowledgebase article is to delete this entry. So if you right click, so you've got modify, delete, so we click the delete. Deleting certain registry entries can cause system instability. Are you sure you want to continue? Yes, we are. Okay, so we've now deleted that entry. You can close down regedit, and you then need to reboot your machine. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so we're back now with the rebooted PC. What I'm going to do now is go back into the device manager. So we right click on computer, into properties, open up device manager. Now, in order to test whether this has worked, what I'm now going to do is to plug in the CD drive that we had before into the netbook, and we should hopefully see, refresh ears, we now have a CD-ROM drive entry. This time, the important thing to note is that there's no exclamation mark against it. This means it's functioning correctly. If we now close this down and go into computer, this time just double click it, you can see devices with removable storage. It's recognised the CD drive correctly. So we could now go in and play a CD or whatever. So now, having established that that works, what we can now do is to plug in the device that we started with, the problem device, as was. If I plug that now into the USB port, and just wait a second, we should find that it's now working correctly. Now, I should say at this point you need to be a little bit patient, because this particular device doesn't come up particularly quickly. But as you can see, we have a light on it here, and if I just move the camera around slightly, if I go into the connections icon, you can see we have internal wireless adapter, as we always did. Now we have Virgin USB wireless adapter, and it's actually connected. So we have actually solved the problem. So I hope you found this useful. Just to summarise, I believe this is a problem with netbooks or any other PC which does not have a permanently connected CD or DVD drive. I believe it's probably caused by a Windows update that has changed that registry entry. However, at least we've got it fixed now. So I hope you found this useful, and happy computing.